Good evening, everyone. I'm Devontae Hanna, topping the weekend edition. A viral video showing the moment residents made the shocking discovery of the body of a man submerged in waters at Woods Rogers Walk on Friday. According to police, the man is believed to be in his 50s and was later retrieved from waters onto land by the Marine Support Unit shortly after 7 p.m. In the 30-second video, the man can be seen floating under the bridge that leads to Lukakari restaurant as residents questioned his ethnicity and even began to discuss possible ways of fishing his body out. When EMS arrived on the scene, they confirmed no signs of life. Subsequently, the body was transported to the morgue for next of kin to identify him. Police tonight are asking members of the public who may be missing a family member or friend to contact 911 or 919. Investigations are ongoing. With authorities still battling a backlog in criminal cases that is said to be a factor in the uptick of crime, National Security Minister Wayne Munro is renewing calls for alleged criminals who may in fact be guilty to avoid wasting the court's time. His admonishment comes on the heels of a man being shot and killed who was on bail for 6 murders this past Monday. This has been an alarming concern for authorities who at this point are trying to navigate ways to keep perpetrators off the streets. And according to Munro, plea deals must be considered.
If you cause us to have to try you to conviction for something like murder, the tariff is 40 to 60 years. If you plead guilty, you are by law given a lower sentence than if you cause us to have to prosecute you to conviction. So if you know that you are guilty, if the evidence is very clear, you should really engage in sensible discussions, because you might spare yourself 10, 15 years of prison time.
Now on to some tourism news. The impressive stopover visitor arrivals experienced last year, which trickled over into this year with the month of January totaling some 1 million visitors alone, is expected to only grow as the tourism sector sails into spring break and the summer season. Tourism's Deputy Director General Dr. Kenneth Romer says the numbers seen on the streets of downtown Nassau are a good indication of what the next few months will look like for the sector.
We saw over 30% in January. Those numbers are holding for February and March. We had a situation just the other day where an airline couldn't find 7 rooms for stranded passengers. Just Saturday past, we had air transit that made a diversion from Cuba into Nassau, 310 passengers, and we had hoped to overnight them in Nassau. We could not find rooms at any of our properties. Okay, the overnight passengers coming in. So our challenge now is really capacity, but the numbers are going to be holding strong. We do believe that we're going to hit the 20% end of this year. We did 30+% in January, and February and March, I must believe, are going to look the same.
In other news tonight, it's officially been 3 years since the COVID-19 pandemic flipped the world upside down. The Pan American Health Organization, an agency that remains at the forefront of the battle against coronavirus, holding a press conference on this significant date. They warn that even though the world has somewhat adjusted to the virus, it can be ever-changing. And they also weigh in on how they think the Bahamas in particular handled the virus. Our Tyler Simonet has more in this report.
On March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. At that time, businesses, schools, and shops closed down, streets were empty, and the world remained unsure of what the virus would bring. Now, 3 years and some 190 million COVID-19 cases and 2.9 million deaths in the region later, many are of the view that the world has adjusted to the pandemic. Newly elected director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Jarbas Barbosa, warns that we are not out of the woods just yet.
As we learn to live with this virus, countries must first maintain and continue to strengthen surveillance. We know that COVID-19 can evolve and adapt quickly. The risk of new variants is real. Testing rates have dropped, but we must maintain monitoring and report this information to PAHO and global mechanisms. Second, we need to continue implementing COVID-19 vaccination programs, reaching out to the 30% who have yet to receive their primary series. So we have, unfortunately, many millions of people that haven't had access to the first doses of COVID-19 vaccine yet in our region. That is a challenge.
According to PAHO, while incidence rates are 20 to 30 times lower than a year ago, last month the region reported 1.5 million new cases and 17,000 deaths. Dr. Barbosa added that setbacks throughout the pandemic have revealed weaknesses in many countries' health systems, including the declining rates for routine vaccination and the treatment of non-communicable diseases. He pushes the region to get behind producing our own medicine.
Latin America and the Caribbean still import 10 times more pharmaceutical products than it exports. Strengthening regional capacity to produce mRNA vaccines, for example, can help our countries to better manage COVID-19 and other emergencies in the long run. We have the tools to end the COVID-19 emergency, but we need to continue working if we want really to have the complete control and to stop the transmission in the near future.
And when it comes to how the Bahamas handle the COVID-19 pandemic, PAHO officials weigh in.
The Bahamas has handled the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic in a good way. All the analysis and the joint work that has been done has resulted in the quickly adaptation of the necessary measures at all levels, both to reduce the risk for the population and also regarding how to open borders as well as the distribution of vaccines. Regarding the tourism, further analysis is needed to assess the impact on tourism and other economic sectors that will provide key information in order for the country to look at it. So in general, all the handling of the pandemic has shown that the Bahamas did well, as I said.
Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
Meantime, Dr. Eldona Boisson, PAHO representative in the Bahamas, tonight encouraging parents to get their children vaccinated, and not only for COVID-19. The comments come as health officials within the past 2 years have seen an alarming decline in vaccination numbers for diseases that she says have a far greater impact than COVID-19. She says this drop in numbers have been happening across the region and has put healthcare practitioners on high alert.
So I can tell you which diseases we're speaking about: polio, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella. All of these diseases are preventable when we vaccinate our children. To get herd immunity, meaning that the whole population is protected, you need to have 95% coverage. We have gone below that. We're in the 80s, and for some dosage, 70%. That means that we are at high risk of the potential reintroduction of those diseases I spoke about that right now we don't see at all. But we have cruise ships coming in all the time, tourism is booming, and people are coming and going from places where they are seeing those diseases.
Well, she says the vaccination hesitancy stems from fears surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine, which she says has creeped into what is considered the usual and in some cases mandatory vaccination process.
There is no treatment whatsoever for polio. If your child gets polio, that's it. There's nothing that can be done. The only protection is to vaccinate them. These are all very serious diseases, and we do not want to see them reintroduce and to start seeing spread of these diseases. So the ministry is going to be appealing to parents to bring their children out, get their vaccines, those who have defaulted, those children, every new birth cohort, make sure they come and they get their vaccination so that not just the children themselves, but the population at large is well protected from reintroducing these diseases because they are preventable.
Meantime, as the religious community continues to remain divided on the issue of marital rape, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, Bishop Delton Fernanda, is advising government on what approach it should take as it seeks to get more consultation from churches on this controversial issue.
And so we've not been meeting collectively as the council. They've been meeting individually with the denomination. I think the approach should be to go out to those conventions and do presentations if I was advising them. But the challenge is that they're going to a place that is divided already. And you can't change them by saying the same thing. You must hear what they have to say and then move forward to see what can be the solutions to come to the desired end. We need to change the words in this line, and others are saying that we just need to put more teeth in the bill. At some point, there has to be synergy somewhere in the middle.
Well, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, please call the IO News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor of a publication on all of our social media platforms at eyewitnessnewsbahamas@gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comments section. We want to hear from you. But still to come tonight, senators are being urged along with the country to strive to be better over the next 50 years. And later, if you're a Bahamian musician, you might want to stick around as the 2023 Carnival experience may have quite the opportunity for you to take it to the big leagues. We've got more on that, but first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
Our lives are full of action. Hey, babe.
From the studio to the video to back home.
All while balancing family life.
BTC Fiber Internet is our solution.
BTC is best for us. Hello?
With fiber, we save more on fast, reliable internet. And we can prove it.
Go to BTC's website and compare for yourself.
Select your current product, price, and location.
You'll see how much you can save with BTC.
Link up with better value.
Link up with BTC.
We have safely protected your lives, assets, and aspirations for over 100 years.
Day until you have done something for someone who can never repay you.
Well, this year's Bahamas Carnival experience promises to be one of the best yet. That's according to officials. This year, they plan to reintroduce the song competition that has given Bahamian artists like Lady E, Fan Sean, and even Patrice Morel another platform to showcase their talent. It has been dubbed the Rising Stars competition, and according to head judge Nehemiah Heald, artists can enter for a chance to perform on the big stage and win up to $10,000 in cash and prizes.
The second place prize would be $5,000. The third place prize winners will get a professional recording session with a qualified producer or engineer. And the deadline, I wanted to share the deadline for submissions would be the 31st of March, 2023. Also want to note, if in 2019 you would have submitted a song, someone that submitted a song back in 2019, that song was not previously released. If it was not previously released, you are allowed to resubmit that song again in this year's competition.
Well, he is admonishing all who think they have what it takes to
promote their songs to the public through radio airplay, social media, and live radio interviews. All of those young Bahamians who say they got it, you could do it. This is an opportunity for you to get it, show it, and do it.
All right, well, the Bahamas Customs Department is celebrating its 109th year this month, hosting a press conference to announce the planned events for the month. Assistant Controller of Customs, Claretta Gomez, who revealed that on March 21st, the anniversary date will be T-shirt Day. Every Friday after during the month, the staff will be allowed to wear the commemorative T-shirts at various stations. There will also be free breakfast provided for the staff and external stakeholders, compliments of the Customs Department. Now, on March 26, a church service will be held at the East Street Tabernacle of Church of God of Prophecy at 11 a.m. The Customs Department will join Bishop Hewlin Hanna and the congregation of the Church of God of Prophecy East Street in their divine worship service. The church service will be followed by a special luncheon at St. Joseph's Parish Hall on Boyd Road, that is, where staff and guests are all invited. Retirees will also be honored during this time.
We will be distributing groceries and supplies to various senior citizen homes throughout New Providence. This will be done courtesy of the Bahamas Customs Department. The Bahamas Customs Department has also adopted a school, T.A. Thompson Junior High School. Upon request made by the school's administration, the department will be donating a minimum of 4 picnic benches to the school for students, as we were informed that the benches are desperately needed. We trust that as we celebrate this occasion, the planned events and special donations will not only promote the department's desire to boost staff morale and foster excellent relationships for both our internal and external stakeholders, but we also trust that as we express our desire to give back to our community at that time.
Well, for those looking to enhance their God-given beauty, Arlia Cooper has a treat for you. She sat down with a well-known makeup artist who's going to show you a fun, easy spring makeup look that you can try every day. Here's Lifestyles with Leo.
It's springtime, and that means it's time for a good reset. And what better way to do that than to give you an in-depth makeup tutorial? We're going to put our best face forward this springtime, and we're doing it with one of the best makeup artists in the game, Mandisa Smith. So, Mandisa, tell us what you're going to do to my face today.
Well, hi, Leah. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. So today we're going to do like a springtime look, and then we're going to change it up and go into night. So we're going to go from day to night, but since we're just getting into spring, we want to show you how fresh and pretty different looks you can do. Something very simple, straight to the point, and then razzle dazzle you at the end.
According to Smith, the first step is brows.
You should always have a nice brow. Brows contour the face.
Next up, eyes.
The colors that we're going in with today are like a nice nudie pink and a brown, and it's going to be able to contrast and go into something deeper. So the brown color I'm going to put on the outskirts of your eye, corner right under the brow bone. And then I'm going to put the pink on the inner corner. Not too much, you don't have to do too much. 2-color pattern. I put a light pink on the lid, and I just blended it into the brown using a black liner to go underneath the eye. Liners are girls' best friends as well as diamonds, but liners give definition to the eye. If you take a look, you can see the difference between one eye and the next. This one's definitely a little bit more wider. This one, it's already started to, give a little bit more definition.
Next up, foundation. And Mandisa suggests this pro tip so that you can achieve a flawless airbrushed finish.
A lot of people like to put on makeup like this. No, put on makeup like this. You would realize the coverage on your skin a little bit more and less stripes.
Next, she contoured my face.
So what you want to do when doing a contour, you're going to go around the forehead, from the top of the ear, here, and then sometimes if you want to do your nose, you go to the bridge of the nose, and then you're going to do chin area, and we're going to blend all of that in, and you guys are going to see Leah with a new nose. We cannot show the men how we shape shift.
Just a simple contour.
Just simple contour.
Now that we're all shape shifted, it's time to conceal.
So we put it underneath the eye. What I like to also do is put the concealer on the forehead here, bring it down the nose, lips, and chin. And then with a beauty blender, damped. A lot of people don't know, but you're actually supposed to damp your beauty blender. Wring it out. You just need it damp. And what it does, it helps for the makeup to melt into the skin. So my favorite highlighting powder is the MAC Mineralized powder. It's very soft.
Now it's time to set the rest of your face.
And what I'm using is another mineral powder by MAC. Again, this is a light face.
Now, I'm typically a lipstick girl, but today we're opting for a lighter, easier look.
We're going to use my favorite lip liner, Chestnut. We're going to follow that Cupid's bow. And what we want to do is give like a nice ombre effect so you could actually rub your lips. Ah, you see how she just smushed that? So a nice spring, soft, summery look. We got here is like a peachy pink color. Go ahead. Keep on going. That's our daytime.
Next week, we'll show you how Smith transitioned this simple, fresh look into a sultry nighttime look that you can wear for date night and even happy hour. Leah Cooper, Eyewitness News.
Well, coming up in tonight's Sunday feature, we're celebrating the woman, the myth, and the legend who has paved the way for dozens of Bahamian women in broadcasting. It's a sit down with a familiar face and voice that you don't want to miss.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and
The faces of broadcasting here in the country, paving the way for many of the household names that you've come to love and trust to bring you news. Laurentia Smith speaking with the veteran journalist Dr. Debbie Bartlett about women in media as Eyewitness News continues to celebrate women around the country. Take a look.
When one thinks of powerhouse female broadcasters here in the country, a few names come to mind. Agnes Ferguson, Michelle Malcolm, Shanique Miller, Oprah Roach, and our very own Janaea Noel. And then there's Dr. Debbie Bartlett. The pioneer has opened up many doors for many women journalists here in the country. She explains to me what it means to be a woman in broadcast, which she says cannot be defined if we don't acknowledge those who came before us.
A woman in broadcasting is to assure the future. And we have a lot of the past and the present that purpose defines where you should be in life. To be a woman in broadcasting, for me, I don't really think about being a woman. I think about my purpose. My purpose is to serve the world. And once you know what your purpose is, your purpose with skill breaks through the barriers.
Bartlett told me that she became a journalist unexpectedly.
But when we went to school in Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois, in our local context, you had to be successful, you needed to be a doctor or a lawyer. As my brother became a doctor, I said, boy, I can't be no doctor. I better try to be a lawyer. And one day, I was in speech class, and the professor said, you were not born to be a lawyer, you were born to be in media. And she said, let me try you out. And I became Debbie B, the queen of the DJs.
Despite being asked to stay in the U.S., Bartlett ultimately decided to come home.
To stay there for 2 years and go into CBS in Chicago. They sent their top person from CBS. And I said, you know, Lord, I say, I want to go home. It's going to be harder. But I want to go home because success isn't limited by your national boundaries. Success is when you dream and you work hard enough. You just wake up and you go through your challenges.
Bartlett became one of the voices and faces of the National Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, starting out as a copywriter. Now, she did note there were trials, which included her being underpaid.
So Lou came and said, would you like to host a show called Woman? And so I did a show called Woman. I did a show after that called Reaction. For every cause, there's an effect. For every action, a reaction. Yes. So both of them became great successes. And so I was a high revenue generator in my shows for the Broadcasting Corporation. And so what it was one of the most astounding things for me yesterday, in those days, and today, is that performance seemed not to matter.
The veteran journalist says that the landscape of media here in the country is in good hands.
You know what's going to make us stronger? When we find a way to work together and we can see and experience the impact that we make. And then when people understand, because you know what it's going to do? It's going to heighten the understanding of those who don't seem to understand that when we come up to the table, value is here. We make a difference.
Bartlett, who has decades in the news business, says if she can sum up her career, she would sum it up as life-changing. Laurentia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, that does it for us in the weekend edition. For all of us here at Eyewitness News, I'm Devontae Hanna. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night and have a great week.
A BAF Whole Life Plan offers security for your family with permanent protection that stands the test of time. Individual whole life insurance can be an effective method of protecting your family's assets with guaranteed death benefits, a level premium payment, and a permanent coverage that can never be canceled as long as the premiums are paid. Find out more today.